All right, this is Jack and Dan here with another congressional update. We have today the New York 22nd Congressional District, which is an open seat featuring Brandon Williams, the Republican, versus Francis Conole, the Democrat. So, Jack, you want to tell us a little bit about this district?
Yeah, so it's a new district. Like Dan said, it's an open seat, but it's in central New York. It's just east of Syracuse, and it contains Utica in the more central eastern part of the district.
All right. And we got as our Republican candidate Brandon Williams, who in the primary took out a pretty established Republican candidate, which is impressive since he was an unknown. Um, and he was attacked by that guy for living out of the district, which doesn't really matter that much as a congressional candidate. But you could tell that guy was scared. He's a successful businessman who's dabbled in a lot of different businesses. I think one of the videos I listened to, he was even doing some truffle farming, which is kind of an eclectic thing to be doing. More important to his electability, though, he's a Navy veteran with service on nuclear subs. He's fairly knowledgeable on supply chain issues and the upstream and downstream reasons why gas prices are high. He's a fairly devout evangelical. I'd say he has a decent likability and openness to him. Don't you think, Jack?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, from what I've seen, he's definitely like friendly and definitely talkative. Do you know if he's a Trump endorsed candidate though?
I didn't see anything one way or the other on that.
Okay, so I wonder if his primary opponent was or was not. I would assume not, but I mean,
Yeah,
he
that
does
that that
have
might explain his kind of meteoric rise.
right. Um, that being said, he has depth as a candidate from a knowledge of conservative perspectives, and that kind of sets him apart.
Absolutely. Yeah, you could tell he wasn't some moderate posing to be a Republican or some fake conservative. Listening to him, you could tell he was the real deal, both from a pro-life side, from a pro-Second Amendment side, and he just knew why he was a conservative, which is kind of rare to see in a candidate. You want to tell us a
Yeah,
little bit about Francis Conole?
yeah, I can. I just want to mention on Williams though, when you're a true conservative like that, it's definitely tough to win races, and so that kind of speaks to him. Well, it does. It's not tough to win races. It depends on where you are. But in these swing districts like that, when you're a true conservative and you're true in your beliefs, I would say that it can be tougher to win, but it also shows his strength as a candidate as well.
Yeah, I would say on that point that any conservative can win any district. You just can't seem like crazy about it.
Right.
I mean, it's like you and I are very conservative, but you can't say certain things and win like moderate districts. Not to say that you should compromise your beliefs or anything like that, but you should also not like say off the rail things, be disciplined in your speech. And people that are more far one way or the other tend to drift toward a undiscipline in their speech. And Trump really hasn't helped with that because Trump is undisciplined in his speech.
Yes.
So it made a lot of our more conservative candidates think that, oh, I can do that too because he does that. Well, he has a leash that goes with having 100% name recognition and people understanding that he doesn't mean what he says. That you don't have is an unknown person who's just running for office for the first time. So
Yeah, that's exactly right. So as far as Francis Conole goes, he's fairly well spoken. He came out of a fairly contentious primary where he beat a progressive opponent as well as two others. So that kind of shows already when you beat the progressive opponent, you're a strong candidate, because a lot of times you'll see that these progressive opponents are able to just badger and badger and badger, and they'll sometimes win. So it shows to his understanding of politics and able to campaign that he was able to beat this progressive opponent. He's clever to characterize high healthcare costs as a tax on working families. He's all in on environmental issues, though, which, I mean, that's very popular with the Democratic.
Boy, do we see that in
Yeah,
a lot of our candidates
yeah.
on the D side. Man, it's like their new religion. It
It's
really
kind of a
is.
trend, actually. You'll see these candidates talk moderately, put out moderate positions, but then hammer hard on environmental issues.
Oh yeah, I mean, the ones that we're covering today, like just in the bios alone, like did you pick up on how many of them worked in green startups?
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's really something. Like I almost feel like Peter Schweitzer should do a book on like is there some nonsense going on there? I don't know. I'm not saying that there is, but it smells
I'll
a
be
little
honest.
fishy.
I don't even really know what a green startup is.
Well, I mean, they get a lot of there's so much federal dollars and subsidies going to a lot of these companies that a lot of these companies just aren't successful at all or ever were profitable. And then they like make some, I won't say a phony product, but like they just have some, they're just kind of like pot smoking ideologues kind of.
Right.
They just have some idea that they haven't really fleshed out in any real manner, and they try to pitch it to somebody, and then they pitch it to somebody higher, and then they're talking real money. Did they ever deliver a product? Maybe, maybe not. And yeah, it's kind of a joke. I mean, that's why like the one successful green company is run by a guy that's a conservative, that Elon Musk. Well, like
Right.
kind of a conservative. I
Yeah,
kind
kind
of
of.
peg him as more of a libertarian, but
He's
anyway,
probably like the true libertarian in American politics right now. Elon Musk is.
that's very true. Yeah.
But as far as Francis Conole goes, he was attacked during the primary, um, when that he was attacked for his employer doing business with Amazon, um, and they alleged that he was not pro-union, as Amazon is not. Um, Also, he is very pro-abortion, which you'll see a lot of the moderate candidates kind of curb that, but he does not. They won't they won't curb the environmental issues, as we talked about, but sometimes they'll curb their abortion stances, or they just won't talk about them.
Yeah. Often they're all pro-abortion
Yeah,
to like 100%, but they don't want to make it their main thing. Especially the guys, the women are I think are a little bit more strident on it, don't you think?
I would say so.
They just try to wrap it in the flag of women's health and reproductive rights and all that crap.
Sorry about that. My roommates just got home. I don't know if you. I don't know how much of that you're able to hear.
That's all good.
But yeah, no, you'll definitely see the women candidates talk about it a lot more. Francis Conole, he is a veteran. However, he's in favor of an assault weapons ban, which actually that is kind of popular amongst Democrats. And so you'll see that a lot. He worked at the DoD. He served in Iraq. He claims that he will work with the GOP, though. He also claims no corporate PAC dollars, like a lot of the other candidates. Do you want to talk a little bit more about his bio there?
Yeah, his grandpa was a Democratic sheriff. He boasts the only Democratic elected countywide in the county that he's from. He said in a debate that he would take down Christopher Columbus's statue when the moderator was asking all the candidates whether they'd take it down, which is kind of a wimp move, but goes along with that part.
I mean, a lot of them will just talk about tearing down the statues, and it really is. That's exactly what it is. It's a wimp move.
And the voters don't even care. I mean, it's maybe what 5% of the wine mom. No, the wine moms don't even care about it either. It's
yeah.
I don't know. It's like a 1% loud Twitter issue that voters don't care about at all. It's it's obnoxious.
In fact, I would say most voters, most of them don't care about it, but I think that most voters are against it, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I saw a group of Italians out in front of the one of the ones in Chicago before either, not sure if it was Lightfoot at the time that pulled. Yeah, I think it was Lightfoot that pulled it.
Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah, I mean, just total cowardice in the face of these bullies. But that's what you get when all you want is power.
You're right.
But
Um, but Conole is more of a democratically established candidate. The local groups back him. He's in favor of extending TRICARE benefits to everybody. Other Democratic candidates have been successfully attacked on this position. Do you want to talk about that one?
yeah, it's kind of, I think it opens him up to attack. Extending TRICARE benefits. So TRICARE is the military, like it's kind of a VA form of healthcare benefits that is provided to veterans in exchange for their service and sacrifice to our country. So a new Dem talking point, which I'm sure they road tested with some focus group that without really thinking about it, they think that this is going to be a popular thing that they can give this to everybody because TRICARE is good. So let's give this thing that the veterans actually fought and sacrificed for to people that came over the border 2 weeks ago. So, and we've seen other Republican candidates say exactly that. And I think it's a really powerful line of attack that they open themselves up for. But they say this crap in their primaries, and I really hope Brandon Williams is picking up on it and takes him to the woodshed on it.
Yeah, it's definitely something that's an easy soft toss attack that you
Yeah.
can attack him on.
Yeah, and these Dem candidates got really high on the healthcare sauce in 2020 and in 2018 when those were big issues. When McCain did the whole thumbs down thing, you can dig through a lot of their debates and find them all sounding off about how everybody deserves top quality healthcare. So a lot of them have taken this dumb position. But you want to talk about the money side of the race, Jack?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's let the money flow. So we've got Brandon Williams. He's raised only $212,000 dollars in case you're in case you don't know how American currency works. But he spent 76,000 of that. And his cash on hand is $136,000. Francis Conole has raised about $1 million. He's spent 742,000 of that, and his cash on hand is 306,000, and that's from August 3rd. So that's fairly recent from some of the other ones we've seen.
Well, I really hope Brandon Williams is on Win Red and a lot of our other platforms for candidates because he needs to pump those numbers up.
Yeah,
Francis doesn't have. What did you see? He's got like 700,000 in the bank, or what is it? What has he got in the bank?
yeah. His cash on hand is 306,000.
Okay, so I mean, cash on hand is not too bad of a disparity, but
Yeah,
I mean, Brandon needs to pump it up a little bit. Hopefully, he reports some good numbers here soon.
yeah. You'll see that with a lot of the candidates that we've talked about, actually, because I mean, I don't know what it is.
They actually just came out of a primary. Like that primary just
That is
happened
correct.
like 2 weeks ago. I think it was at some point in August it happened. I think late August. So I mean, they're probably both almost spent. So I mean, it's good. They're both probably starting from about scratch right now.
Yeah, I do keep forgetting that because we are still pretty near primary season, near the conclusion of primary season. When does big funding dollars start to really roll in?
I mean, right now is when voters start to kind of engage on these races. It's
Mhm.
usually they say Labor Day is when campaign season really kicks into gear. So, um, if a candidate's planning, I mean, they should be raising money all the time.
Well,
But
yeah,
I mean, that's like the perfect world answer. But hopefully the dollars start to flow. Hopefully Trump opens his his war chest for a lot of these candidates
Yeah.
that we're going to need. Hopefully the RCCC has got some dollars ready for some of these key races, and hopefully we got some PAC money flowing too. I guess speaking of, you mentioned that the Conole had that line about no corporate PAC dollars, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you really see that with a lot of these Dem candidates. I mean, maybe it must be a good primary talking point for them. It must really matter to their primary voters, but it just I don't get it at all. Like, I mean, I'm sure they buy into the perception that like if somebody gives you $5,000 in a race that you're going to be spending 2 million, that like you're bought and paid for by that guy. But I mean, anybody that's worked campaigns just kind of thinks it's absurd. But I mean, it's kind of that whole conspiracy theory mindset that like, oh, a few big dollar people control everything. Like okay, bro. Have you ever worked in government? Because it doesn't sound like you have.
Yeah.
But
But
yeah, overall this race, what do you think, Jack?
I mean, there's not great polling data about it, but I mean, it's an open seat. It's in central New York, so it's not going to be New York City. I mean, it's definitely one that can be won by the Republican.
Yeah, I like Brandon's kind of open and honest way he talks.
Yeah.
I think he's got a good likability to him. I think Conole is probably more of a veteran candidate in terms of more of a coached type of candidate. I I, I don't know how he'll be, but he seems like he'll be fairly formidable. But I feel like this one's pretty evenly matched. Maybe even give Brandon the edge. What do you think?
Yeah, I would say that that's a fair analysis of it.
All right. Well, thank you to everybody for listening. Hope to join you on the next one. And God bless. Thank you for listening.